Before we bid a fondue to this chapter, let's have a little bit of fun. Give me a file new. Choose a profile of web and a size of 960 by 560 and click OK. Now that's not really necessary. It just fits so well into my workspace. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a sunflower using the techniques we learned in this chapter. Now I live in Wichita, Kansas currently. And Wichita, Kansas is famous for its sunflowers. They're like really big, tall things, taller than me, and I'm not short. And if you ever want to see a really cool movie from the 50s or early 60s, it was called The Day of the Triffids, about these big flowers that took over the world. Every time I go by a field of these sunflowers, I think, oh my goodness, it's the Day of the Triffids. Come over here and pick up your ellipse tool. Give me a nice elongated ellipse, something like, about like that. Now, what I want to make sure is that I have a stroke around it of 1 point. So to make this easy, just come over here and click this button right there. Now that's default fill and stroke. So we know we have a black stroke going around it of 1 point, but I don't want white. Sunflowers aren't white. So we're going to come over to our swatches. Make sure you do have the fill selected. And pick a yellow. That's a sunflower yellow. So we got that done. Come over to your pen tool. We're going to get a little bit ahead of ourselves right now because we haven't gotten into the pen tool yet. But select it, hold it, come down to convert anchor point. And I want you to click on that top anchor right there. It's going to convert it into a straight point. Make it look a little bit more, I suppose, maybe like, an elongated teardrop. Make sure you have it selected. Go up to the word effect on the pull-down menu. Lots of cool stuff up here. Go to distort and transform and go into roughen. Now in roughen, if we turn on the preview, that's not what I want. I want something very subtle. So we're going to change the size to 1%. And let's actually even take down the detail to about 5. Something like that. So I don't want a perfect ellipse. I want something a little bit rougher. And click OK. And so we now have that. That's going to be one of our leaves, believe it or not. All right, now select it. We know that if we hold the Alt key down and drag an object, it makes a copy. And if we then press Control D, it makes more copies, but it keeps the copies exactly the same way. And it basically just keeps moving down to the right. I'm going to undo that. We're going to stand that on its head. Pick up the rotate tool over here. I want you to come in and click right directly above that anchor point that we straightened out. Just right there. Get as close to the middle as you can, but hold the Alt key before you click. Now what that will do is open up the rotate dialog box. What we need is an angle that is exactly divisible into 360. 15 comes to mind. That'll work. So we're going to change that to 15. And you can see what it did. Preview on off. Now what I want is a copy. So click copy. You got 2 of them. Now press Control D and watch what happens. Let's pick up our ellipse tool one more time and draw a circle right about here. Right, as a matter of fact, right in the center, if you can get right in the center. If not, you can move it. Hold down the Alt key and draw out. Sunflowers do have kind of like a central area like that. Let's go ahead and pick up our selection tool. Select it. Change it to this gradient. Now I am in the Essentials workspace. Don't forget that. So you will see your swatches right here. The default swatches do contain one right here that is a linear gradient. Now once you've got that, go into gradient right here, change the type to radial, and we'll go ahead and stop right there. But there you go. You've got a nice, really scary Day of the Triffids sunflower, courtesy of duplicate and rotate. On to the next.